This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glynn Lavender.
Hi. We do a podcast, and it's to do with being cold and having minerals.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me? Were you talking to me?
Shutters zinc or something, apparently.
Yeah, don't go out in the sun.
That's zinc cream, like the stuff you put on your nose, or like the stuff you make, I don't know, the stuff out of with.
What episode is this?
It's
I need to know.
I
need to
really
know.
going to be short. That's what episode it is. It's going to be a short one, and I run it, and I've got this guy who adjusts the sound, called Bruce. And
Mate,
I'm not Bruce.
This intro is so much more pro.
I know, right? Yeah. This is getting the listeners in. I go, oh, I'm curious now. So you kind of gave up the entire bloody story of what the thing's about, just by these stupid intros. I figured after 400, Bruce insert number here,
551
episodes, they're supposed to do it in post here. I'll try that again. So I thought after 400, Bruce insert number here episodes, we would do a bit of a change-up. It's working, isn't it?
Good. Sensational.
Hoax. Hoax.
Award-winning stuff.
Okay. I'm not sure what award. Is it raspberries? What's it? Rotten tomatoes.
Yeah, how's your last 2 weeks been?
Shiteful.
Why?
Oh, I had man flu.
Oh.
Worse than that, my wife had it.
Oh, no.
No, right? So my poor dear wife was sick, absolutely sick as a dog, bedridden for like 4 days.
Oh, geez, that's not good.
I mean, when I made her get up to make me coffee and stuff, she just looked terrible. It was like The Walking Dead. And when she was cooking dinner, I was worried I was going to catch something. And sure enough, bang.
You did.
The poor dear was in bed for like 4 straight days, and she finally got out, and then I got it.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I've got a different thing actually, but man, because it's man flu, and
right,
whilst my wife is the man of the family, she does all the handyman stuff. I do the cooking and cleaning.
Are you suggesting that?
Yes, I am totally.
That your set of 5 adjustable spanners gets more use in the hands of your wife than in your hands?
Oh, absolutely. If we ever go to IKEA, she's got some work ahead of her.
Right.
And she knows this before we even go down. She's the only competent person in the family, and she's going grey prematurely because of it.
Right.
Yes, and then I was sick as a dog in bed for like 4 days.
Yeah, right.
And then I finally got good on like last Friday.
Yeah. Saturday
she started feeling sick again, Saturday afternoon. Sunday hit by another one, in bed for 3 days.
Oh, wow. Geez, that's not good.
In 3 weeks we've had all that, and the youngest has got been coughing and spluttering and off for a couple of days as well. And the eldest has been healthy because they don't come out of the bedroom.
Yeah. There you go.
That happens. If you're locked in your bedroom 24/7.
Method to the madness.
But he had his 16th, so that was pretty good. So that 16th birthday, my wife was in bed the entire day sick, so that went down well. So
dear.
We're doing 16 take 2 this weekend coming up.
Right.
But so I took him and my youngest out for their first driving lesson.
Oh, fantastic!
I know, and illegally on a country back road.
Of course. That's the Australian way.
Of course, of course. So the 16-year-old got to drive like 40 minutes, which is pretty good, and for a first attempt. And I let the 12-year-old go for 5-6 minutes up and down. Just
nice.
up a street, U-turn, up a street, U-turn. It's the same street, just 3 or 4 times. Yeah, and I think we saw one car in that hour or so we were out. So it's pretty safe.
That sounds like my 12th year as well. Learning to drive a HQ Holden Ute 3 on the tree.
and no power steering.
Oh, no.
No, all the luxury of modern cons.
I actually hate all of these so-called safety features that are on new cars. Because they interfere with the driving experience. Because what?
You're an idiot.
If you say so.
Come on.
But no, all this bloody...
a vital part of modern driving.
Oh, that's fine. But I'm talking about all this crap like lane assist and, collision impact warnings and automatic wipers, automatic headlights, automatic indicators. All that crap just irritates the bejesus out of me.
No.
Yeah.
I love it all, and I reckon more drivers should have it. So most drivers can't keep in one friggin' lane without on the phone all the time.
Yep.
So they're weaving across the lane and getting into my lane to give you all the lane assist you can get.
Yeah, but my argument is the more of these so-called safety features you put in the car, the less attention people pay to the way they drive.
They'll do it anyway, because they're friggin' morons, my headlights are the best headlights on the bloody planet because they shape around the car in front of you. So I can have high beams on.
Oh, wow.
And they dip down in like a little U shape.
Wow.
And it follows the car in front of you.
That is awesome.
It stays with low beam in its rear view mirror. But because it's like driving Australian kangaroos, we get I get the high beam on each side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
And then if a car comes towards me, just that side of the headlight dips down, and when it goes by, it pulls back up again, all automatic.
That's pretty cool. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And when I turn around corners, they turn around corners with, so they're going around the corner before you take the corner.
I have cornering lighting on my motorbike, and it's great. I love it.
And I'm sure, like if you're driving in like Canada, with the deer, on the road, and it's a similar thing to our roos come out just at that uncomfortable time of night when it's not quite dark enough.
No, my deer's usually on the passenger seat beside me. She's not out on the road.
Misogynistic bastard. Was it me who said women's work? Misogynists are us.
Dear.
I'm not a misogynist. I believe women should do lots more work, preferably all of mine. Yeah, and I'm happy to give them kudos for it. Well done, dear. You've done a great job. Good on you, darling.
We should be talking photography before things get worse.
What should we get started now? I did sneak out for a quick shoot last week to do some other shots with Tamron.
I was going to say, is your secret squirrel mission finished yet, or are you still going?
Well, I don't know, because they messaged last week saying we need these some shots like this immediately. I didn't have any shots like that, and I was just starting to feel sick, but I went out and tried to shoot some stuff.
Right.
And then I got home from that, and I was too sick to do anything. I just left the camera sitting on the bench, and I was then bedridden for 4 days. Oh, and then they rang 3 times, and I didn't answer because I was bedridden. And then they emailed like 4 times, which I didn't answer because I was bedridden. And then when I finally got unbedridden, I sent them the images and an apology email and haven't heard from them. So
they're sick at their end. They're bedridden.
Like, 4 days ago. So
right.
I just kept looking at my emails.
Oh dear. Okay.
So that's good. And then I went out yesterday. A lady I kind of know. Her son was recruited by my football team last season.
Okay.
Not last season, last draft, but he was recruited with an ACL damage knee, so he wasn't going to be able to play for a year.
Yeah, right.
So there was and he's finally got back on the track with full training with the team 2 weeks ago. And I want to go down and I'll take photos of his first ever proper training session for her and send them to her. And of course, wife's sick, then me sick, so I finally went out and did that yesterday and did some shots. So
yeah, right.
That was kind of nice to be back out, just doing some casual photography rather than, I've got to do this type of shot for this particular reason kind of thing. So it's just nice just to take photos for the fun of it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I've been doing a little bit. And how's your 2 weeks? You've been packing the house? What's going on with the house move?
Well, we've had our 4th open home last Saturday, and we had a couple of families come through who are very keen. But interestingly, I mean, we still haven't had an offer made. I do know that one of those parties is trying to sell their property in Sydney. So it's it's never-ending conundrum, that the party that wants to buy always needs to sell in order to buy.
And you want to buy, but you have to sell before you
can buy. Exactly, so until you've got a signed contract, it's a bit hard to make a move. But I did say to the estate agent, I said, well, look, if it helps him, let him know that we are quite open to a long settlement because we're going to be out of the country for most of September. We're unlikely to be able to move in the next 6 weeks before we go. Yeah. Therefore, we're looking at an October settlement anyway. So who knows? Something could happen any day now. But, we're just plugging away and we keep cleaning the house every Saturday morning in preparation for the next open house, as you do. So, yeah.
And it must be cold up there today because you've got gloves on.
I've got my mittens on because it is freezing in here, and this is where I suffer for my art, Glynn.
What's the actual temperature?
It was about 3 degrees at 6 o'clock, but I don't know what it is now. But it's probably like 10 degrees now.
You tend to have warmer weather than we do.
Generally, yeah. So I have been doing more mucking around with video codecs and working out what how to shoot and stuff like that. I'm going to be shooting some video backdrops for the ABC because they need some new backdrops for Newcastle because the backdrops they've got are quite old and they actually look a bit old.
What do they use the backdrops for? Sorry.
So whenever they have a talking head doing a cross from our studio to maybe 7:30 report or to the news or whatever, and they have either a reporter or maybe it's a guest who's being interviewed who comes into our studio. We put them in this studio that we've got that's got a big 65-inch TV, and they put them.
Sorry, that's amusing.
Okay.
A big 65. That's not a big TV anymore.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's bigger than that. I don't know. But anyway, it's a big TV, and they put the video backdrop, up on that. They have these hour-long backdrops of the new
time lapses and stuff like that.
Well, just of Newcastle, of the city, So it's just a image of the city, and we got daytime ones and we've got some evening ones, and the talking head can just sit in front of that TV and talk, and the camera that is picking them up is cropped in tight enough that you don't see the edges of the TV, so it just makes it look like they're sitting in front of this this backdrop.
That was okay, yeah.
So they need some new ones shot, and they've been screaming out for new ones for ages. And I said, well, look, I'm happy to go out and do it. So boss said to me, that'd be great. We'd love it if you could. So
has the city changed that much that you need it updated? Hey, puppy dog.
It's not.
Puppy dog.
Who are you talking to?
Your puppy dog.
You can't see him.
I can see your dog.
Where?
Just down there, right by your microphone. At the bottom. Hello, puppy dog. I see you there.
He can't hear you because I've got the speakers turned down. Yeah. So over the next week or so, I'm going to be out shooting some new backdrops for the ABC. Putty cat.
Putty cat. There's a dog there.
I could hear the putty cat a few minutes ago. I could hear the bell. So yes, I've been doing that. And there's also a suggestion. My boss said to me the other day, well, when I said the other day, it was probably a week or so back now. She said, 7:30 Report has reached out and asked, do we have anyone up here who can take a decent portrait? They've got some stories coming up where they might need.
Do you have anyone up there to take a decent portrait?
No, but I'll have a crack at it. So she said, I've put your name forward, so there might be some, opportunities to shoot some portraits for 7:30 Report, so that's pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's kind of good variety, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gives you different stuff to be doing.
And as I'm always going down rabbit holes on YouTube, I came across this video. It was 10 tips for travel photography or something. I can't even remember what the video was now. And this guy threw out this tip, which seems so obvious in hindsight, and I had just never even considered it. No, he said...
I think it's your hindsight.
He said, I only buy filters in one size. Which is what I do as well. I buy only 77mm filters because I figure, for most of the lenses I'm ever going to use, that's going to be big enough. And it's always painful having to, put the rings on, take the rings off, blah, 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 blah. And he said, buy one adapter ring for each lens that you have that goes from the size of the ring to the size of your filters, like in one jump. Like, don't worry about, multiple rings. And buy multiple lens caps in that size, and then just leave the rings on the lenses all of the time, and then you've only got to worry about the one lens cap. You can just take that off, put the filter on. And I thought, why did I never think of that? So
it's the first time you don't put the filter on quite straight and you lock it into that adapter ring, and then you can't get either off.
Well, I tend to be a little careful with the way I thread.
No. Do you?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah,
Gosh.
me. So I went on eBay and I bought a bunch of extra adapter rings and some 77mm lens caps, and putting them on all of my lenses so that I will just have the one 77mm lens cap for every lens.
Well, you just get a magnetic filter.
Yeah, I suppose. It's just that I've already bought filters.
In fact, just use blue tack. Sort of tack. It's just cram it on there.
I find super glue's better. It holds better.
You don't need adapters at all that way, do you? Of course, if you're using the 600mm f4, it means you can't stitch your arm out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably not going to be any good with a 77 anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Like a 97 or something like that. So you might have your fingers in the shop.
Well, that was the reason for my question to you on text message through the week about, if I use a step-down ring from 82 to 77, how much field of view am I going to lose on that Tamron lens? Because it's an 82mm front element, and, of course, all my filters are 77. So, I mean, I may just shoot it without a filter. That's the easiest solution.
Or just do it and lose what you lose. Nice natural vignette effects.
Yeah. So I can't imagine the loss would be massive, and it'd only be at the short end of the lens, wouldn't it?
Exactly,
yeah. So anyway, but I'm getting excited. It's only 6 weeks to go.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'll get a holiday in 6 weeks.
You do.
Our listeners get a holiday.
They will. They'll get a month off. Yeah.
Or we could be really cruel and record like a whole bunch of episodes, and just plan more than we normally do.
Mate, given how much we struggle to research a single episode, I find that the idea of us actually doing 4 episodes in advance rather ludicrous.
Yeah, it's a fair point you make.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love. But beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
Now, you sent us a link to a video on YouTube. I
can't remember what it was about.
It was the one where it starts off where it says, all of these photos were pulled from social media. And then it runs through like 100 images that are different interpretations of the same shot. And the monologue is basically, I can't even remember now.
It's a video from the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows.
Right.
Great
name.
A cool name. It's what they call it, Venmodelin. It actually came up on I was watching a reaction video.
Right.
A music reaction video, and this guy puts different stuff in that speaks to him before every reaction he does.
Right.
Okay, so there's 465 photos in this video, all 465 are taken by 465 different photographers.
Yep.
And they're almost all exactly the same.
Yeah.
in different elements. There's a commonality to so many images, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think their point of the video, which kind of struck me as interesting, was it's not so much that all we're doing is photographing. There's nothing new, nothing original photographed because everything's been done. To me, it was more on the line of the very fact that we photograph the same as so many people shows our humanness.
Yep.
More than
you mean our humanity?
Yeah. So I mean, our humanness. The fact that we are human, not our humanity, because humanity is when we're kind and nice to someone, for example.
Okay.
Our humanness, our very being as a human, is interestingly linked to all kind of seeing and thinking and doing the same thing. We're creatures of habit, or creatures of, especially visual habit. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not such a thing to be upset or worried or feel negative about when all you feel you do is photograph the same as other people, but celebrated the fact that you have the same vision as so many other creatives, and you are almost like a community of people who see the world a certain way.
Yep.
So I think there's quite a bit to be said outside of, gee, look, we all do the same stuff. I think there's a much deeper. So I thought it was interesting. I think this video was worthwhile looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll put it in the show notes for anyone that wants to check it out. So.
I like anything that shows me or makes me think of revival, not necessarily revival like things, because that doesn't happen very often, but makes me...
But makes you think, yeah.
But, we were saying we're always trying to see the world from a different viewpoint, and trying to be creative and do that. But sometimes when something shows you that not seeing something different is actually a great strength, or there's something intrinsically human, as said, about our shared experiences. I mean, look at what we all live on the same planet. We have the same sun, we have the same sky, we have the same, we give or take the same weather patterns. The same life span. We have the same general goals. So as a race of humankind, we are very, very, very similar. So it kind of makes sense that I guess we and maybe that's what makes great art truly stand out, is when someone sees outside of that humanness and sees something from a perspective that is truly different.
That idea that we're more alike than we are different reminds me of that video. It went viral a couple of years ago. It was I think it was like Denmark or Norway, where they got this bunch of random people and they said, if you've ever, done X, go to this side of the room. And, and a handful of people would come across, and then it was put everyone back together, and it was like, if you've ever done Y, come across this side of the room. And it was all about how whether we intend to do it or not, we tend to judge people, on the first appearance that we notice. And you would so often look at these people and you would create a mental idea of who that person was without even knowing them. And yet once you start asking these questions, you find, wow, I've got things in common with this person. I thought, that my initial reaction to seeing them says, I have nothing in common with this person, and it's actually not the case, And vice versa, people you might look at and think, oh, yeah, I've got a lot in common with that person. If you spend enough time, you might actually find, hey, I've got nothing in common with that person.
Yeah, well, that's it. So, that's you often find that out once you're married.
Yeah.
In that reaction video scene, again, there's a channel where it's like Afghanistani tribal villages put in front of the video and exposed to all sorts of stuff that completely out of their normal scope of things.
Yeah, right.
Through translate, that can be translated, everything's being said, but then they're showing stuff like Nirvana, for example. Right. Now you imagine if you're a hill tribe, Afghanistani tribal elder,
and if you're living under Taliban rule where all Western influence is shut off.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're exposed and have to react and come up. But it's fascinating again when you hear their reactions to stuff and the thoughts and how they relate to things, and that's like my old cousin, blah blah blah, and there's all this stuff that they have this linked humanity, where you don't necessarily think probably don't have a lot in common with this person, but their reactions to the things that you probably reacted to can be very very similar. It's like, oh wow, that's. there's something intrinsically human there again, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not humans, because of course they are, but, you know, I probably wouldn't have a lot of... I never had anything in common with my grandparents.
Right.
For example, I never had anything to do with them, because we were just so poles apart. But my brother was... He'd go over their place every Friday night to play cards.
Yeah, right.
And there's only 4 years difference between us. But I think my last words to my grandfather were "F off."
Right.
Yeah, and he did. His last words. You know, and that's getting an age thing. I was an angry teenager, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like there's where are the common links between people where you feel there's no connection, and I'm sure, you know, let's say my grandfather was into photography or had a casual interest, and then I started taking photos. He'd probably want to see them, and all of a sudden you've got a connection, everything, and how that mellows out all this other stuff. And you think about all these conflicts in the world and stuff. And so, well, you know, if we could look more at the commonalities and the areas where we agree, rather than always focusing on the stuff we don't, the world would be a hell of a different place. But we don't live in utopia, so that's... I've got a couple of things, and then we'll get this off because it's going to be a shorter. And most of my stuff this week was iPhone related.
Oh, okay.
Which is rather bizarre. So my first thing I want to talk about is my third thing on my list.
Yeah.
It's called Gorilla.
Okay.
And that the Toronto Zoo has asked people to stop showing iPhone videos to their gorillas.
Oh, okay.
Because their gorillas are getting obsessed with watching YouTube. and they're having more interest in watching someone's video on a phone than they have socialising with each other. It's affecting the dynamics of the family.
Wow.
And so
there's a lesson for humanity.
That's what these things are. There's a lot to be learned here, you know. So
if only we were smart enough to pay attention.
Yeah. That's not going to happen. The gorillas might learn. But I thought it was fascinating that especially, and here's the thing, the younger gorillas are far more obsessed about them than the older gorillas.
Wow.
So isn't it, we're going to talk about humanity or similar things.
Yeah, we're more alike than we are different.
Yeah, and I've seen in Melbourne Zoo people trying to show the easiest, and our gorillas and our orangutans are the ones you can get the closest to.
Yeah, right.
And I see people showing their phones to them all the time. You know, or they take their photo and show them the photo. Yeah. And the gorillas are like, "What the hell's that?" So me, damn, I'm good looking. But yeah, so I thought that was just a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
Then I saw this thing called, I didn't know how to say it, it's the Vaonis Hestia. It's the first smartphone telescope.
Wow.
And basically, it's this optical device that you basically just lay your phone on top of, or the camera part of your phone on top of. And it does image stacking and stacks the photos and produces these images on your iPhone.
Wow!
And it works on a normal tripod, so no tracking, no alignments required, no anything. It's just basically point and press the button.
Yeah, right.
Now, I don't know what the reality of the quality of the pictures are like versus what they're showing. Quite interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Galaxies and nebulas and all that kind of stuff, and they do one example of the moon with an iPhone 14, and it's cracking. It's cracking and good.
Wow!
But it's taking all this image stacking technology and doing it all for you, and yeah.
Like I'm looking, the photo of the sun is amazing.
I know the photo of the sun too. You know, it's just like crazy stuff. And so I can imagine its field of view may be slightly wide, which allows it to take it's tracking via software to do multiple.
Yeah.
This is my assumption. It's tracking via software to keep it centered.
Yeah.
And do
cropping in post.
Stacking, and then cropping on before it sends to the phone.
Wow.
But really cool. And once again, if it opens up that world to a future who knows who, scientists, they're not cheap, but they're only going to get cheaper. Yeah. That sort of technology is under. I remember a 7-inch LCD photo frame from Sony. Yeah. So so you put your memory card in, $1,700 Australian dollars. a 7-inch.
And now you'd pay about $17 for it.
Yeah. So this thing's like $2,500, I think, US dollars.
Wow.
But if that gets down to $600, $700, $800 at some point, that's a doable thing.
Yeah.
And let's put it this way, frankly, far more useful than most telescopes people buy because people never learn how to use them, and they're incredibly hard to master unless you put a lot of time and effort into it.
Right.
So something like this would be quite remarkable, I thought. So I thought that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing before we came online that if you want to take photos of Saturn's rings, you better get out and do it now, speaking about space, because by 2025, they'll have disappeared.
Wow.
Gone completely, Bruce. Completely erased from... Well, not quite.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But they are disappearing.
They're just going to be harder to see.
Fact. It is a known fact that they are disappearing. They are getting thinner, but not that quickly. But yeah, so the angle of view is going to go pretty much so there's just going to be a really, really thin line rather than because of its angle and our angle. So for quite a while there, you're not going to be able to see the rings of Saturn from Earth.
Wow, so for about 7 years they'll appear flat.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I can't think.
It'd be like Curly and Moe, won't it?
I've been watching. Keeping an eye on astro stuff since the very early 80s.
Yeah.
So good 40 years, and I don't recall it ever being like that in that time frame. So I'm not sure last time we were in a position where you couldn't see the rings easily, at the very least.
Yeah.
But it's certainly been nothing. There's nothing that's ever struck my attention span to notice that. So that was pretty amazing as well.
Yeah.
And the very last thing is also yet another iPhone thing, and I've just actually downloaded this app myself to give it a test. Yeah. There's a long exposure iPhone tool called Spectre.
Right.
Spectre, which used to be like a $7 long exposure app.
Okay.
And apparently it's a really, really, if you like doing long exposure photos, this app was pretty darn good at it. Far more advanced than what the iPhone itself can do. And it's now free. So
right.
I want to just download it and then go and...
I'm glad to hear that it's free because I was really concerned that you would have wasted your $8 because I know what your attention span's like. Well, I don't think.
What $8? Why is it $8?
There we go.
Hold steady while Spectre intelligently take... I missed that a little bit. I'm just trying to open the app for the first time. Presto along, it's a live photo. So it's basically it's image stacking, like
yeah, right.
Which is what the so the iPhone already has the ability to do long exposure with its live photos.
Right.
So I've done lots of waterfall shots, all that kind of stuff in the past.
Yep.
I just think this gives you a bigger range. Because basically, you know how live photos work. Does your Android do live photos on Android?
What do you mean?
Take a photograph, but it actually captures the second or 2 seconds before you press the button and a second or so afterwards. And then you can then just scroll through that and find the photo you want, where maybe the eyes aren't quite blinking or the facial expression's a little bit nicer, and then make that the actual photograph.
To be honest, I've not looked.
It's a great feature.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Especially when photographing kids, because they're so...
of course.
More than one kid, they're sort of bouncing around. So you can choose always the absolute best moment of that shot that you just tried to do.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, if there's variables in it, and so that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do then is it can then image stack all those individual frames to create long exposure.
Yeah, right.
And I do this a bit in crowded places where people are busily bustling around.
Yeah.
You do a long exposure there, then most of them disappear.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat little trick to do with the phone as well. So.
That's how I got my shot of the, I can't remember what they call it, the mirrored plateau or something in Bordeaux in France. It's this big open area. It's probably 50 metres wide and it's probably about 20 or 30 metres deep. And it's like all flat tiles with these water jets, and it's right in front of this beautiful symmetrical building, and everyone goes there to take the photo, and so I did it with a 10-stop filter and basically, did like a 4-minute exposure or something, and
Yeah.
Most of the people disappeared. You got a couple of little, traces of the people who didn't move enough, but yeah.
So I mean, that's the advantage of taking multiple single shots at 1,000th of a second.
Yeah.
Rather than having to have an expensive filter.
Yep.
B, that can affect the colour of your photo.
Yep.
C, that requires a really steady tripod, or even to carry a tripod.
Yep.
D, to have 4 minutes of uninterrupted view and not have some not move for most of it and stand up like a blurry blob.
Yeah.
Whereas you could do 20 or 30 individual 1,000th of a second shots and blend them together and get roughly the same effect.
Yep.
So it's a cool technique, and it's something I've used a fair bit whilst travelling, just to give it a bit more sense of isolation rather than...
I mean, you do still need a tripod or not?
No. Okay. I usually lean on something and
right. Fair enough.
Keep it roughly the same composition all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's like with any image stacking, it takes one base background and then just kind of builds other bits around it. So,
nice.
So you need a tripod. Or, when it comes to travel, go in a really, really bad off-season. A guy I know at the moment's in India. And it's amazing. I keep seeing these photos of him. He's like at Taj Mahal, and there's only him. He's in this amazing castle. There's only him. It's like there's nobody there. It's like completely empty.
Why is there no one there?
Well, it's the off season. Not many people travel before October.
Right.
It's the rain. You get a lot of rain.
Okay.
And so it's not the time of year when a lot of people travel to India. But it's just like whether it's just timing it really, really well. But it's like there's absolutely nobody there,
Yeah, right.
You also took some video of an alleyway in Delhi. It was about 2 foot underwater and still pouring with rain. So you pay some money, you take some chances.
Of course.
So anyway, that's all I've got for this week.
Cool.
There's a few little incremental things.
Nice. Yeah.
But quality stuff nonetheless, Bruce.
Of course.
Of our Shutters Zinc
of course.
podcast. Episode 1 of Shutters Zinc.
That's it. All right, mate. Well, you have a good couple of weeks.
I shall. Hey, this is like the third last podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Put it that way.
Yeah. Something to get excited about.
Awesome. Any word on your device that you ordered last week?
Not yet.
Oh, I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, a little. I'll be annoyed if it doesn't get here.
Crazy stuff.
Anyway.
All right, mate.
Well, you take care.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.